Hey, what's going on? It's the Petrolist.
Let's talk about the 2025 Dodge Charger. Now, there's some pros and cons to it. The pro is that it is offered with a gasoline engine and it does look great. There are some lines and angles that I find to be a little bit questionable. One would be the kind of the hood vents that act like a wing. I'm not really sure how much downforce these cars need, especially the EV version. I mean, the weight alone, 6,000 pounds, that's downforce enough. Now, the cons, I already mentioned the EV weighs 6,000 pounds and it actually makes much less horsepower than the Plaid. So I think it's kind of as far as EV goes, you know me, I'm not big on them. But even so, if you're going to put out an EV and you're going to be Dodge, who is known for, the Demon and the Hellcat, you've got to at least be approaching Tesla Plaid territory, and they're not. They fall short of the Plaid's horsepower. I'm going to talk more about the gasoline engine though. It's going to be for the high output version, 550 horsepower coming from a turbocharged inline 6 3-liter. Now, I have recently turned into a convert of, cars with big engines, big V8s, to cars with smaller ones, as long as the performance is the same. When it comes to muscle cars, though, I don't really think I can get behind that, because the whole point of a muscle car or a tuner car is that what you get from the factory, yeah, that's going to be fine, but you should be able to soup it up. You should be able to tune it. And when you're already extracting 550 horsepower, which is the high output version, the 3-liter turbo straight 6, you're pretty much maxing that out.
Scotty, I can't change the laws of physics.
So that means, even though you have the gasoline engine, gone are the days of, 1,000, I don't know, I'm just guessing here, 2,000 horsepower supercharged V8s coming from Dodge, and you're pretty much maxed out at 550. If this was a smaller, sleeker sports car that quite frankly did not look like a muscle car, which I think this is maybe where Dodge should have went. They should have made a sports car that was sleeker. And offered it in the straight 6, the turbo straight 6. But when you've got something that looks like an old school Charger that has the big old hood, and it looks like there should be a monster engine underneath that hood, and inherently that it's just a straight 6, and it's supposed to be like Dodge has this history of creating some of the most maniacal drag cars, knowing that you're peaked out with a 550 horsepower straight 6, which is not slow. That seems very, very disappointing. And personally, if I was in the market for a Charger or a Challenger, I would take the older ones every single time. Will I be looking at the new Charger when they come to the car shows? Yeah, I'll take a look at the gas-powered one. The electric vehicle, like, those don't really interest me. I will still take a look at it because it'll be a novelty. I will like to see one, but I think that's going to be the end of it, and I'm still going to be more fascinated by the older models. It's also going to be an 8-speed automatic. So car companies are kind of doing that these days. They're taking really odd legacy nameplates that are famous for their V8 rumble and just immense tunability, and they're shoehorning, a lot of, small engine, complicated technology behind it. For example, I think it's the new AMG C63. It's a huge Mercedes sedan, and it goes from anywhere. The price range is anywhere from $100 to $125,000, and it's powered by a turbo straight four hybrid. That sounds like a recipe for breakdowns, for expensive and complicated, convoluted repairs. We're adding a lot of complexity to a lot of things these days, and it's really, truly not appealing. I think if you have more money than sense, or if you're just in the market for something flashy and new, I think, yeah, these are decent options for you. But if you're looking to hold on to something for the long run, like, these battery packs are going to die out. The straight six out of the Dodge Charger, the new one, it's not going to hold up to some of the drag racing heritage that these cars have. I'm hoping that they do come up with a V8 version, and that Dodge is just kind of holding their cards close to their chest, because the EV market, I think, is crashing a little bit. Will they always be on the roads? Yeah, I do think so. Are they necessarily the future? I'm not convinced, and hopefully Dodge is just waiting for the right moment to reintroduce a V8 into the Charger. Here's where I get a little confused, and here's where I think Ford kind of did a better job of navigating this new electric vehicle frontier. For as much hate as the Mustang Mach-E got because it was called a Mustang, Ford did plan ahead, and they said, okay, we have to make an EV. We're going to make one over here. We're going to try to sell as many as possible, so that's why they ended up calling it the Mustang. Fine. But what that allowed them to do was to keep putting V8s into the real Mustang. And that's what you need for a muscle car, for a performance car of that nature. I've got a Bronco that's got a 2.3 liter turbo straight four. I think it's rated at 300 horsepower. It's the first vehicle that I've owned in quite a long time that I don't actually even care to know the horsepower number. All I know is that it's fast enough. But guess what? It's not a drag car. I'm barely ever flooring the crap out of that thing. I think that that engine is going to last because of how I drive. I don't bury my foot to the firewall. It's just not the kind of vehicle that you do that in. Dodge Charger, on the other hand, is. I don't think that the powertrain is really fit for purpose, and that's the biggest thing that I'm concerned about in this new era is, yeah, EVs are fun. Not for me, for you. If you want one, if you're into that, it's fine. I'm not gonna harass you or make fun of you or anything like that. But an EV for a muscle car, especially, they've got this fake exhaust noise. I find the idea exhausting, pun completely intended. It's not the right body style. It's not the right heritage. It's really not the right anything for this car. Not even the right EV output. If it was gonna be EV, then they gotta bring the heat and they gotta make it compete with the Plaid. So I think Dodge went very lukewarm on the new Charger. Looks good, but even the hood vents, that is going to prevent folks from, putting a V8 in there in the aftermarket unless they want to fab their own stuff. So that's my thought. I'll be interested to see the first one when I see it out on the road. I'll probably take a good 20-second look at it, and that will likely be the end of my interest in Dodge Chargers. at least the ones made in 2025 and beyond. All right, that's it. Pretty simple. I'm out.